Everybody, this is Rydo and we're back with another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Wednesday, September 12th. We are on the European account. We've got a decent amount of stuff to do and the tavern brawl, so busy. We want to trade out something. Do we trade out this? Or do we trade out this? And I guess what I want to do is trade out this one. Alright. So now I need 3 games with the Druid or Hunter, and then 1 with the Priest or Warlock, and then 3 more victories anywhere. Maybe I could play a Priest deck here and win. Otherwise I'm just gonna play the basic Mage deck that I had before. Okay. So what I'm looking for, and there's probably an easier way to do this, is Light Spawn and then heal. Like when somebody is healed, heal. There's another card I know of that gains attack when it's healed, but I'm not sure I have it, nor do I'm not sure I need it. That's 7. That's probably not the right cards to play though. Let's see, double attack. Change. Can't do that one. That one. See, I'm not sure I'm doing this right. Double minions attack, another one of those, and a couple of those. I can do like 1 of those. Let's try this, but this is a really weird tavern brawl. It's pick 7 cards and then we'll give you a bunch of spells, and somehow that is supposed to not end up with just everybody playing the mage with the mana worm. Yeah, I don't know how.
Anduin versus Gul'dan.
Some of these tavern brawls, they seem like they really only have one solution.
The light shall bring victory.
Yeah, that's the maximum there. It's like play this, this, and this, and it will be 20 damage, assuming it stays alive. Let's go through the news. We got plenty of news today.
Job's done.
Let's see. TechRaptor has a article, Steam Watch - laser chain removed from Steam due to quote cyber lynch mob. Let's see. Signature in here. This laser chain was the skip down to the next paragraph. Now laser chain has been removed from Steam, seemingly by the developers themselves following community outrage regarding the various incidents that have happened. Regarding the situation, we reached out to Ben Midas of Laser Chain LLC. I question whether Midas was really is the name. Ben said the removal was the result of a cyber lynch mob and elaborated. Let's see. Quote, Sid Alpha. This is interesting how TechRaptor quoted too. They have this giant parentheses on the side that looks like a logo more than a quote sign, a double quotation mark. Sid Alpha mobilized a cyber lynch mob and falsely accused us of criminal allegations. No charges have been filed from any source. The criminal allegations is in which they abused the DMCA, which I would agree was, I would say, was not a false accusation. Just because no charges have been filed does not mean that that doesn't mean that you didn't do something criminal. That's just a straight up willful ignorance of how words work. This was repeatedly parroted by his passionate following and unjustly destroyed our game's online reputation. It never had an online reputation, primarily through Steam. Being on Steam is more of a detriment than a boon at this point, with a mass of negative reviews led by Sid. If we decide to put it back up, I'll let you know, but I don't believe Steam is the proper platform for this game. Anyways, those are the facts. No, they aren't. I'm not responding to any more comments. I apologized for my mistake in the story. Did he apologize for any mistake ever?
Job's done.
I don't know about that one. Let's see. Due to the developer of the game, Ben, singling out Sid Alpha in his commentary, TechRaptor reached out to Sid Alpha, who said, quote, "I take great pains to avoid weaponizing my audience, but if they think that this was anyone's fault other than theirs, they are even more full of SHIT than I thought." Which I'd agree with. What's funny about this logo and the giant double quotation marks is also it doesn't have an end quotation marks. Anyways, thus ends the saga of Laser Chain. Like, I don't know if there was anything more that needed to be said or done about that. Another random game on Steam that seemed to be more of a scheme than anything else. Interesting here that Steam didn't have to step in, and in previous instances we've seen this kind of drama just go on and on and on, and usually Steam has to step in and ban the user, like aka the Digital Homicide series of things. But I think Steam is quite rightly trying their best to stay under the radar with stuff like this. They don't want to look like the bad guy and have to ban somebody publicly if they can just say, you know what, just cut this out, or how about you take your game off and then you look like the better, the smarter character, or the bigger person. Let's see. Let's go ahead and play this, and then do this, and then do that. We have a game on Steam called World's Greatest City Mosaics. This isn't mosaic tiles though, this is Picross. It's $6.99. Somebody just started to spectate me, so hopefully they had a watch and learn and they just got it. Although I'm not sure if you get that to happen, if you just, like, in less than one turn start spectating somebody and realize that see a victory. And we got one rare card. That's not a great outcome for our opening pack. Would like to see better cards, particularly for my European and Asian accounts. Turn all of that to dust. And see, that leaves us in the position where we have a 3 Druid and Hunter victories to go with. So I keep thinking Hunter is the right one, so let's play the Druid instead, because I think I've played enough Hunter. So Token Druid, ranked play. Still trying to get up to rank 20. Also, World's Greatest Mosaics is $6.99 with no discount. It is way, way too expensive, and I wouldn't recommend it even at 69 cents. Big Fish Games is back for their seemingly weekly release. They have Mystery Trackers Black Isle Collector's Edition, Hidden Object game, Hidden Object Adventure game for $12.99. Don't have to tell you that Big Fish Games has lots and lots of hidden object site adventure games. I'm looking at the trailer here. It looks like they use some actual acting in a cutscene, which they usually don't. Usually it's just animated. Come to think of it, that live 2D game development engine that has been introduced to make visual novel characters move and animate, it would probably work rather well for hidden object games too. Like, quite often you'll see characters that are just stationary when they're talking to you.
The light protects.
Yeah, this game looks like it's rotoscoped, or well, not rotoscoped, but just live action green screen characters into the hidden object game.
Reporting for duty.
Mystery Trackers Black Isle Collection. It looks a lot like what you might nostalgically think that The Seventh Guest looked like, a game that I recently played, and sadly almost every bit of audio in that was content ID'd and copyrighted. Of course, since I'm not making any money on YouTube ads anyways, the digital copyright bit rot that I was having to implement doesn't really have to be implemented right now. Like, I don't have to go through the system and try and have YouTube remove those audio clips. I can just say, well, forget it. They can have the money as long as they don't block the video, which I don't think they do too often. That's only really Nintendo that blocks videos. Maybe a Square Enix trailer once in a while. Once a year. We have a game on Steam, World of Warplanes. It's a massively multiplayer game. It doesn't actually look too bad. If you wanted to play Warplanes and have some kind of an RPG upgrade system, the environments that you're flying around look actually really good. The planes look pretty good. This is from Wargaming Group Limited. It's early access, free to play too. The World of series is, I suppose, trying to harken back to like World of Warcraft.
The light protects me.
Job's done.
Let's see. The only thing I could say is that Wargaming Group, well, no, they have a game called Naval Legends that's rated positive, Sea Smackdown that's rated positive, and then World of Tanks Blitz is rated mixed. But World of Warships is positive, and World of Warplanes isn't rated yet. So they're going with a whole genre of military-esque things. Let's see. The ESA, that is the ratings board for the lobbyist group for the video game industry in the United States, retweeted a health data article talking about a Cleveland clinic called ZME, who are going to develop VR-based clinical anatomy curriculum. That is cool. We have seen some VR like anatomy things that have already been released on Steam that typically have a tendency to not be that great and be a little too expensive and not detailed enough. If you're going to develop a full-on curriculum, you're theoretically making a software program that is going to take you through different lessons for the course of 6 weeks, at least one lesson every weekday in that 6 weeks, to really have these characters be as informed and educational as possible. And I'd really like to see something like that come out. And it really wouldn't be a bad idea if anatomy was taught more in or earlier levels of education. Like there is health education certainly, but there's definitely something lacking in all of that too. Alright, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 14. That's not gonna work. So let's do this. 2, 4, 6. There we go. Next we have a game called Gift of Parthax, P-A-R-T-H-A-X. Says it's a 2D top-down action arena game in a gladiatorial wizardry. Interesting description, at least. It's tagged indie action adventure RPG 2D pixel graphics. And the pixel graphics don't look too bad. But I think the arena fighting is kind of the problem here. What I would probably classify as a top-down twin-stick shooter with wizarding abilities doesn't strike me as something that's... I'm not sure I want to do that, so I'm going to do this instead. Yeah. Yeah, the actual gameplay mechanic here just doesn't look as interesting as the story and the animation style. And the animation style barely looks interesting because it's pixel graphics. This game also has 47 Steam achievements. It's 15% off for $8.49. So the last bit of information I could say is that it's the first game from this developer, which... I don't know. That certainly doesn't help. It really doesn't help to have that be an issue. If this game was not $8.49, which is what I think it's saying, it might be $6.49. I might be misreading it. No, it's $8.49. Just had to zoom in a little bit more. If this game was like $5, maybe I could put it on the wish list, keep an eye on it. But they're really just asking for too much. Too much. Let's see. That one we'll keep and we'll get rid of the rest. Eurogamer has an article, Oddworld Stranger's Wrath coming to the Switch, and it's playable at EGX. It's kind of odd that Stranger's Wrath is coming out again. It was remastered for the PlayStation 3 and came out for the iOS and Ouya, and there's a Wii U version that's been in the works for a while too, so they probably transitioned the Wii U version to a Switch version. But the Oddworld series was definitely a series I couldn't ever get into, and I wanted to like it. I really did, but the game it showed, the game it gave me, just did not work for me. And Stranger's Wrath is a completely different game than the other Oddworld games, but it's like the 4th game in the series, and even Stranger's Wrath really didn't play the way I'd like it to have played. A full-on reboot would be nice, but also, which I think they are working on a full-on reboot of some sort, but it may not be for the first game. It may be a reboot for like the 2nd or 3rd game.
I hunt alone. Job done.
Moving on, TechRaptor has 2-point hospital review, patient revived. Let's see. A lot of hype about 2-point hospital, with very, very few people actually reviewing it. So, like, PC Gamer has been obsessed about 2-point hospital, and Eurogamer was obsessed about it, but neither one of them came out with reviews. And I kind of think I know why. Is because there's cronyism going on here. I think the people that developed Theme Hospital and 2-Point Hospital are friends with people like Eurogamer and the mainstream video game industry. Anyways, and so when we get TechRaptor to come out here and review the game, give it a score, they give it a pretty low 6.5 good rating. So an average game gets about 7.5 on TechRaptor, as I understand it. It usually gets about 7.5 anywhere. The summary on the review is 2-Point Hospital keeps the spirit of Theme Hospital, improves on the gameplay, but buggy pathfinding and missing quality of life features brings the whole experience down. Pros, solid core gameplay, humorous writing, catchy music, and let's see.
Access denied.
Hunting low.
This.
Whoops.
Cons are buggy pathfinding, few quality of life features, no sandbox level or map editor. So you're probably going to get really bored with it. I don't know if this really is video game news, but it's a Eurogamer article. Apple's new phone is named the iPhone XS, leaks reveal. The iPhone XS and XS Max and the XR have been formally announced according to an update. I wonder what the XR is. Well, that's about as much as I care about for iPhones, so we will leave it at that. If people use iPhones, fine. I'm not going to get into a religious debate about it, but personally have very little interest in owning or knowing about them, other than the fact that they are a major console for video games, whether people like it or not. So new versions that can play games better, hopefully. One would assume the new versions can play games better. That's a good thing. THQ Nordic, for some weird reason, although everything THQ Nordic does these days seems very release weird. They've come to an agreement to be the physical distributor for 8 to Glory, which is as I understand it, a horrible bull riding simulation game that's just not fun to play. But THQ Nordic will be publishing the physical version for the PS4 and Xbox One on October 30th. THQ Nordic also, in a previous story, acquired the rights for Kingdoms of Amalur IP and other assets from 38 Studios, but apparently, according to Giant Bomb, they actually don't have direct permission to print or publish even what they acquired. So EA apparently still has the publishing rights to that, unless there's some kind of legal shenanigans going on there. So even though THQ might be able to publish the game, THQ might be able to put it out there as the developer of this game, they don't have the rights to make all the money off of it, because EA as a publisher is probably going to have to renegotiate. So yeah, there's definitely some weirdness there too. THQ Nordic just seems to be on a money spending spree, and at what point when you see a company or a person on a money spending spree do you take them aside and say, look, you need to hold back, you need to save some money for a rainy day? Are you a shopaholic? Because I'm thinking as a company, THQ might just be shopaholics. Are they trying to pull some kind of scheme too, where they run up the debts in the acquisitions of games and things, and then THQ Nordic goes bankrupt, and then it all goes into liquidation and gets bought cheaper by somebody else? Like that's a weird thing, is that this could just all be, it probably isn't, but it could just be a scam designed around the idea of lowering the prices of old IPs and old games by manipulating shareholders, using shareholders' money to buy games to run a company into the ground to then have that liquidated at a closeout price. And that certainly would be a weird article to read, where if you looked at the cost of video games to a developer trying to purchase the rights of them, are those going up over the years, or are they going down? Of course, that's all just tinfoil hat speculation right now. Moving on, Eurogamer has an article, a nifty Gone Home Easter egg adds official Super NES cartridges on the Switch. So, I believe what this does is replace some Super NES cartridges artwork that were in Gone Home, but they were super giant pictures on the cartridges, so nothing copyrighted by Nintendo. Now that the Gone Home is coming to the Switch, you're getting the original art, which I don't know if that really, I mean, it's almost like what you're doing here is you're losing new art in favor of old art. So they had a game called Journey of Crystal and Adventure of the Cat, and now they've got a actual sticker on top of a Super NES cart for Super Mario Kart and Donkey Kong Country and the Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. I don't know if that really does anything. It also puts Gone Home in the real world instead of a slightly different than the real world position, which I guess probably doesn't matter too much.
I comply.
But it is now establishing it to be set in the real world. It's barely an Easter egg. It's just Nintendo putting Nintendo things in the non-Nintendo products, which they've been doing for years. Moving on, we have a game called Assetto Corsa Competizione. Let me see if this is in English, because that sounds like it. Well, it says it's in English and Italian. So that's ASSETTO space Corsa, C-O-R-S-A, space C-O-M-P-E-T-I-Z-I-O-N-E, which I assume these are Italian cars competing, is what that name implies. It looks relatively pretty, relatively lifelike. The visual level of quality in racing games is very, very
The
high,
light shall burn you.
and this seems to stand up to the standard of what you would expect. Okay, so can I do anything? Just I have to do this, and then this, this, and I kind of have to kill this. Alright, moving forward. There's an extra EULA on this game. Its early access is $24.99. I slightly question whether this is gonna be a well-translated game, but it is already rated very positive, 87% of 208 reviewers, so I think for racing car games, this one is one to wishlist. So I will continue down that path and bow to the mob and say yes, that's one I will put on the wish list and keep an eye on it. Let's see, we already talked about this and there's nothing new to be said. Okay. Let's see. This is more of just an advertisement article, so you don't need to read that one. Just advertising the game Exapunks. Gematsu has an article, first Gematsu article today. The 2D Metroidvania Time Spinner, 2D Metroidvania game called Time Spinner for the PS4, PS Vita, and PC launches September 25th. Let's see if I can watch a video on it.
Hello, Wanderer.
Let's see. It is that 8-bit pixel graphics style, but being 2D instead of top-down, and it looks like it moves really, really fast, or at least at a point you get the ability to move really fast, and it does look like a Metroidvania game, except for magic and fantasy more than sci-fi. This one's got my attention, so I'm gonna have to make sure if I can find this. Well, yes, it does have a Steam page, so make sure that gets to my wish list too. Time Spinner looks interesting enough to keep an eye on for when it comes out.
Time waits for no one.
Let's do this. And then turn. Next we have a game on Steam called Leisure Town. It looks like it's a low effort asset flip combining actually some interesting looking animated characters into a hyper realistic 3D world. Yeah, there's like no tags on this game other than it's a casual game. There's the description is first person game, let me enter the story. 40% off for 59 cents. At least they kind of know that this is not a good quality game. They're not joking or trolling to imply that it actually should sell at $13. And of course Leisure Town is the only game from this developer. I think we probably are seeing less instances of just really, really low quality, low effort games coming out on Steam. They're definitely trying to do something more interesting, something better, something that will at least try and get some sales. Let's do this. And go ahead and do this.
Hey, catch!
For the wild. Job done.
There we go. There is a Gamma Sutra, right? Is this Gamma Sutra? Yeah, Gamma Sutra article blog called The Mechanics of Tension. If I had more time, I would read it. Certainly it's talking about old games. I think a lot of horror game developers these days fail to make any tension or do anything other than jump scares. Even playing Dead Space 2, the audio is trying to cause tension. There's falling and rising action. It's an action, basically space zombie shooter game, so it's really just Resident Evil 4 in space in a lot of ways, like inventory management. And I love Resident Evil 4, so I kind of love Dead Space 2. It's just kind of a shame it didn't go anywhere. After that, yeah, Dead Space 3 exists, but I can just pretty much pretend like it doesn't, because it's not on Steam. Which, it is kind of insane that after Dead Space 3 came out, there has not been any games that is a space monster shooter Resident Evil style game. Zombies or monsters in space like that. I guess Prey maybe is sort of like that, but it didn't. It's so much like BioShock that it becomes a problem. I guess I need one more victory. Yeah, seems like after Dead Space 3 they literally killed a genre that they very possibly created themselves, and somebody should have copied it. Capcom should have copied it. They should have said, hey, let's make a spin-off series of the Resident Evil series, but set it in space, set it hundreds of years in the future, say that Umbrella Corporation is long since gone, but no, they aren't, they're still around.
Malfurion versus Malfurion.
I must protect the wild. Nature must be preserved.
But yeah, Dead Space 2, very good at doing horror games better than a lot of the games like Layers of Fear and Amnesia, where it's kind of nothing. It's kind of just jump scares. A lot of Dead Space 2, to be fair, is jump scares, but it's usually a jump scare that either attacks you and hurts you, so there's actual danger of dying, or it's a jump scare that you caused upon yourself, and then you pull out your gun and you shoot them, which is definitely not anything you could do in Layers of Fear. I would say, compared to Layers of Fear, Dead Space 2 fails to have any kind of like psychological hallucination effects. You get hallucinations in Dead Space 2 throughout the entire game, but they are just things you see that are telling you story and expanding the story, versus being, oh, you walk down the hallway and then you turn around and there's that hallway is collapsed, so you didn't actually walk down the hallway, something else must have happened, but you don't know what. Let's see.
Speak your peace.
What do I want to do here? Just keep on playing people. There you go. Moving on, Gematsu has an article. Mitsuragi Kamui Hikai is coming to the Switch. That's MITSURUGI space KAMUI space HIKAE. It's coming to Switch on September 20th in Japan. It is a high-speed sword-fighting battle action game. And I see a slightly more realistic animated anime girl, which I guess that in a weird way is kind of counterintuitive to say that. But what I mean by that is she's tall, she looks like she has realistic proportions, and yeah, She's not going for that chibi animation style. This very well may not be a great game, and this very well may not be a game that ever comes to the West. If it's only really on the Switch and it's not on PC already, that is also an issue. And yes, it is a very fast-paced fighting people and mechs with swords, hacking and slashing. It's probably a pretty simplistic game. It seems like it's just a random background area that you're fighting people in.
The light protects me.
It doesn't seem like you actually go anywhere or collect anything or do anything along those levels.
Job done.
Big sprouts of blood when you hit the enemies. This looks a lot like an Oni Chambra game. Fighting a demon.
Is patience.
Yeah. A lot of the Oni Chambra games are pretty simplistic to just kind of focusing on the sword fighting and having that experience. And if you're swinging around the Switch controllers, that might be actually really interesting. Now the trailer's showing the main character fighting that girl with a sword.
The scourge will devour all.
Let's see. Yeah, but clearly there isn't much to this game. It is pretty simplistic. It's gonna be on the eShop for like $12. Yeah. And for a Japanese game, oh, it is on Steam already, so we can talk about it. I put it on my wish list. Interesting. Gotta read the whole article. Publisher is AGM Playism, developer is Zenith Blue. It's rated very positive, 83% of 2,314 users. It came out March 10th, 2014. So it's like a 3-year-old game, and when you look at it from that perspective, yeah, there's definitely some things that make some sense there. One attack and one attack. And then I think I'm just gonna end my turn. And the Steam version trailer looks the same as the other game. Has 33 achievements. It's $9.99. Yeah, I'll put this game on my wish list. It's definitely not a top tier game. This is a single A game, if I ever saw one. Let's see what Zenith Blue has developed. Apparently, La Mulana? Did I just click on the wrong thing? Oh, the developer just takes me to the publisher. Interesting. See, and that's the problem now, is that when you click on a developer's name on Steam, you're not guaranteed to even get to the place that you want to be. Right, this.
The light protects me.
Let's see if we can do this. 6
For the wild.
3 plus
I fight.
5 plus attack. And I've already lost almost certainly. Let's see, Your Gamer has an article. You must pay to play Nintendo Switch Online from next week. So the online pass is coming out, and yeah, it sucks. Yeah, having to pay to play online for Nintendo games and getting cloud saves really puts a hamper on the small bit of hype I had to where I might have at one point wanted to get a Switch. Like it's really, really hard to justify paying even $1 for what you know is going to be a incredibly inferior experience. Although for me in particular, I'm not sure I would need to pay to play online for a Switch. I'm not sure if I got a Switch I wouldn't kind of immediately hack it and be able to move save files off in some other way, or possibly I would just hack it completely. Like there is in the back of my head of like, if I ever got around to getting a Switch, I might just hack it and steal all the Nintendo games and just be done with it at that point, and I'd just play the single player stuff, which is really, those are the two games on Switch I want to play right now, is Zelda and Mario. And in all fairness, if I was gonna just start trying to play all these Zelda and Marios and Metroid games, which I would say are the big three for me that I've missed for the several now. I had a Wii, I didn't have a Wii U, and I really didn't even have a Wii all the way through the lifetime of the Wii, so there's a decent number of games that I could go back and play if Nintendo would not content IDing and block that gameplay, which that's the problem, is that they would literally block it. They wouldn't just claim the money. Moving on, GameIndustry.biz has an article. Team 17 posts a 25% profit bump in maiden financial results. This is the first financial report since going public earlier this year. Almost certainly you're going to claim a big profit the first time you go public, because you went public and you made money by selling shares. Also, you could have been very easily hiding the truth of the situation up until that point and then make it look better than it does. There's a lot of ways to manipulate things and make it look better than they are. That being said, Team 17 not doing too bad in the video game industry either. Let's see, I could give this one health, and then
Deploying countermeasures.
I could attack
Deploying
here,
countermeasures.
and this one doesn't have a death rattle, so I'm just going to merge that
Job done.
in the turn. I don't know why I didn't merge that first. Moving on, Gamasutra has an article. Danganronpa creator Kazuchika Koda, that's K-A-Z-U-T-A-K-A space K-O-D-A-K-A, Kodaka, yeah, establishes a new game studio called Tokyo Games, T-O-O-K-Y-O Games. I suppose Tokyo is supposed to be one word in the logo, but everything I've seen it written has been 2 words, so I'm confused there.
Deploying countermeasures.
Let's see. Tokyo already has 4 projects in development, including a shocking adventure game and a cyberpunk title that's being made in collaboration with Zero Escape and Pokemon Mystery Dungeon developers by Chunsoft. Now, as I'm understanding this, a lot of the people who left to work, a lot of people left Spike Chunsoft to work for Tokyo Games, so I don't know why there would be disloyalty, particularly in a Japanese perspective, to a company. They clearly must have needed or wanted to do something big and different. Let's see. Because people who made the Zero Escape and the Danganronpa games are now working for this company, it's fair to speculate, I think, that there may never be any more Zero Escape games, which I'm not sure that that story didn't wrap up fine. And there may not be any more Danganronpa games, which I'm not sure that that story didn't wrap up fine also, so it might be fine regardless. Attacking. They showed off like single pictures showing off the 4 games they have in production. It's not unheard of for production committees to be made for anime TV series. I wonder if there's a similar idea that's encroaching into the video game design world in Japan too, where companies get formed specifically so that 1 or 2 or in this case 4 games get made, and then after those games are made there's nothing more ever planned to be released for it.
What is my purpose?
Let's see. Well, we'll have to wait and see on that case. Let's see. Gematsu has an article. Zoid's Wild game launches this winter in Japan. Anime-esque visuals for an anime-based game. Zoids, as a anime series, is probably one of the least known in the United States that's still sort of known and kind of people are nostalgic for. It's sort of Transformers-esque in you're driving around a bunch of animal-shaped robots, and it was tied into actually selling model kits of the Zoids, which I somehow ended up getting when I was a kid and putting together. It was pretty cool, but it was also a pretty difficult thing to build, and I'm not sure I did a great job on it. So yeah, I'm not sure Zoids Wild will come to the West, and apparently it's coming to the Switch, and nothing else, which is slightly interesting because I would have almost assumed that it would have been a PC game, a mobile game actually. Alright, moving on. I'm not sure how much of this news I'm actually going to get done today. We have a game on Steam called Rust Puppy Kids Games. Rust Puppy being the developer. I don't know if I trust these kids games, as I just saw a animation of a kid using toilet paper. Seems a little too early, and I'm not sure I trust it. It's English only, but I almost think Rust R-U-S-S Puppy is a wink and a nod to this being a Russian troll developer. And nothing here looks great as a game, and it's 20% off for $3.99. So let's ignore the fact that I think it's a Russian troll developer, which now that I see the other things that is listed already on Steam, I now know it's a troll developer. Even if I didn't know that, though, I wouldn't recommend that game. Speaking of troll games, the next game we have on Steam is called Steven the Sperm, which seems to be a MS Paint drawn platformer of some sort. Bouncing around. It looks like garbage. It has 14 achievements. It's $1.99. Close that tab. Next we have a game called Rock of Whispers Prologue. In the chilling cellar beneath the apocalyptic Snow Phelan, the witch wakes up from hibernation and ventures into the Forsaken world. Guide her through the process of escaping the cellar and seeing the changed world for her first time. It says it's an indie adventure according to the tags. Not sure if this is really a visual novel with some adventure elements or what. Like, it almost looks like a point-and-click adventure. It's tagged English, traditional Chinese, Japanese, and simplified Chinese. And with a name like Phelan, I suspect it's probably a Chinese game, but it doesn't look terrible. At least right now it doesn't. And the prologue is, I assume, the free introductory to a bigger game coming out later. This developer has made a game called Opus: The Day We Found Earth, which, let's click on that and see if maybe we can get an idea of the ratings on that. It's 85% positive with 512 user reviews, and it kind of looks like a point-and-click adventure too. Okay, well, I think both of those games then should be put in my wish list, and I should keep an eye on them. Opus came out April 21st, 2016, and yeah, that's something to think about.
I wonder what this does.
I'm not gonna win here. This guy is just stringing me along. Next we have a game called Betweenside, B-E-T-W-E-E-N-S-I-D-E, one word. They say it's a first-person gothic fiction set in interwar Cornwall, where players rewrite the story as they go. The patriarch of a once respected house is dead, survived only by his late sister's children, left to them as his worldly and unworldly belongings and the fate of their family. So is this a text game? No, it really isn't. It's kind of a low polygon, it's like a low polygon 3D game. Looks like there's probably some puzzles, maybe a little bit of horror elements. Doesn't look terrible though. I could see a lot of games looking like this and me being immediately tempted to brush them off. But I think this one deserves a little bit more investigation. So it's 10% off. Betweenside is 10% off for $5.39. The price is cheap. And this is the second game that the developers made. The other one was called In Space, which is very positive, 84% of 96 user reviews. Still keep on playing. In Space doesn't look interesting to me at all, but Opus does. I mean, Betweenside does, so I'll put that in the wish list. Interesting, this is the first day in maybe 2 weeks where I've found a decent number of games to go on the wish list. The last week felt very much like there was no reason to do anything, to wish list any of the games. Here's a game that probably won't get wish listed. It's called Boobs Puzzle. B-O-O-B-S, in case you need to spell that. It looks like it is a complete Candy Crush clone with some animated girls with clouds over their boobs and their pelvic region, and maybe as you make it forward in the game you'll eventually see something. This game is 99 cents and it has 100 achievements, so you just kind of know it's an achievement game.
The light protects me.
These, it's questionable whether they bought the rights to these anime characters or not. Like, the last thing you'd want to do is play a Candy Crush game, just to be fair, on a PC. Like, Candy Crush is a cheating game that you can never really win at in the first place. It's literally been scientifically proven that it cheats and screws you over so that you have to buy more tries and enforce microtransactions. This, but even if it didn't cheat, you'd still want to play that on a mobile game when you had some free time, not in front of a computer for several hours. And the boobs don't really add anything to it. I'm not sure if it says 10 levels in the entire game. That's all it has, so I don't even know if you're ever actually going to see any nudity in the game. So, moving on, we have a game on Steam called Bunny Battle Arena, which,
Time waits for no one.
how are they describing this? How about anger management treatment through stabbing humanoid bunnies with a possessed princess in love with death? Bunny Battle Arena, the best medicine for anger issues management, is the description here. It's tagged action, adventure, indie, violence, and I'm seeing some grotesque depictions of bunnies that are turned into like monster creatures. But there's actually an interesting amount of polish on this too. So this probably is an asset flip game. But
For the wild.
they're trying to make it look interesting. They're showing a live action girl in one of the trailers. And I think that's the bait and switch that's happening here, because it's not a live action game at all. Instead, it's like a 2D side-scrolling fighting game where I don't even know if there's a girl. Yeah, I'm seeing a girl, but they're not showing her very often in the screenshots. She looks completely different in the game than the live action trailer looks. I'm not even sure this isn't a turn-based RPG thing. I'm not even sure it's real-time fighting. Might also just be closer to a clicker than anything else, with a bunch of different currencies. Still trying to get a handle on this gameplay. Okay. It's a runner where you seem to be controlling it mostly with the mouse. Yeah. And you're fighting bunnies. Yeah, this game is ridiculous. It has 20 achievements. It's 40% off for $5.99. Says it's rating pending from the SRB. It's from a developer who made a game on March 19th, 2018 that only got 4 user reviews, called Cruise Brothers, which was just a fighting game of some sort. Bad quality fighting game. I have to say the same is true for Bunny Battle Arena. So, yeah. We're gonna end on a bad note. How are we on news on this recording? Like, looking at the bar at the top of my Chrome browser, the way I've configured it is still putting things to the right of the Humble store, but we probably only have about an hour worth of content for at least up to the Humble Store, if not after that. And it's already been an hour and 7 minutes for this recording, so this is the time to break it up. Where are we on quests? Oh, yeah, I don't actually need to get that quest. I can do that Friday. So, in the break, I'll move over to the Asian account. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, you can friend me on Steam, gift me a game, or support me through Patreon. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.